So, hey, it is still morning. Good morning. Had to figure out what time it was. Okay. Couple of things before we get going with Hyperbola's Day 2. First off, so we'll start with tomorrow. Okay? If you have class tomorrow, mods 16 and 17, or 20 and 21, you will not be having class. Okay? If you have one of these other 6 times that you have off mods, you can just show up to one of those other 6 mods and then get all of the information. Tomorrow is not necessarily a hard day, but it is a confusing type of a day. And so it would be better if you got it from in the seat as opposed to on the interwebs. Okay? But there will be a screencast posted tomorrow afternoon if you don't have a chance to make it to one of those 6 other classes. Okay? So that's that one. Second thing, when you came in today, you should have picked up a 3x5 note card. Actually, I think this is more like a 4x5 note card, or whatever size, 4x6, whatever. Whatever this size is, this is the note card that you got. We are giving you the opportunity to use a note card for next week, Wednesday's conics section test, assessment, whatever you want to call it. Okay? On that note card can go anything and everything that you would like to put on there, with the exception of examples. Do not put examples on your note card. Your note card is for notes, not for problems. Okay? You will be turning in said note card next week, Wednesday, day of the test, when you're done. And if for my grading students, and I think Mrs. Hill and Mr. Roth are doing the exact same thing too, if we look at your note card and we see examples on there, we're taking 3 points off. Which the last class is like, oh, that's nothing. I said, yeah, but it's only a 30-point test, which makes it a full letter grade. Okay? Right? Because 3 divided by 10 is 10%. That's the difference between an A and a B.
Is the only homework returning in that packet?
That packet, and then your station rotation packet from this week. Okay? And this is still going to be in everybody chapter. So everybody's turning in those 2 things. Okay? Speaking of the blue packet, please get out your blue packet right now. First, this should not be the first time that you are leaping through your blue packet. Okay? You should be well into at least the 3rd page by now of your blue packet. Okay? However, I would like to draw your attention to problem number 12 on the hyperbola page. As you can see, number 12 on the hyperbola page, the copy got screwed up. It got all shifted in printing and copying. So to make that one easier for you, we are saying that the center is at the point -5, comma, -5. The 2 vertices are at -5, comma, -2, and -5, comma, -8. And the slope of the asymptotes is plus or minus, oops, tap the brakes, my shirt's screwing up the smartboard, plus or minus 3/5. Okay? Using that information, then now you should be able to get the equation of that ellipse, or not ellipse, sorry, hyperbola. Okay? And that packet, again, due next week, Wednesday. Preferably, you have it done by next week, Tuesday, so that if you have questions, we can get questions answered on Tuesday in preparation for Wednesday. should have enough graphs on your graph paper that you had started earlier this week to get through today. If you don't, there's some more graph paper up here. The downfall with the graph paper that we have left over is there's no room to work on it. Okay? So, graphing hyperbolas today. Okay? So, again, a couple of quick reminders. We're going to run through these slides rather quickly. They're the slides that we did yesterday. Okay? First off, remembering that the two equations for a hyperbola are either x squared minus y squared or y squared minus x squared. Okay? If it's an x squared minus y squared, it's a left and right opening hyperbola. If it's y squared minus x squared, it's an up and down opening hyperbola. Okay? So that when we go to graph it, the very first thing that we do is we figure out which way it's going to open. We look at which one's being subtracted. That tells us which way it opens. Then we find the center, okay, h comma k. Then we look underneath the x term. We take that number, we take the square root of that number, and that tells us how far left and right we're going to go to build our box. We have to build the box. Then we look underneath the y squared term. That tells us how, we take the square root of that again. That tells us how far up and down we have to go. Then we can draw in our box. Then we can draw the diagonals of our box, because that's going to be the two asymptotes. We can then find the equations of those asymptotes. Then we can identify the vertices. The vertices are going to be the midpoints of the box sides in correspondence with the direction of opening. So if it opens up and down, the vertices are going to be the midpoint of the top and the bottom of the box. It's not biggest or smallest anymore. It's which way the hyperbola opens. That allows us then to draw in our hyperbola. And then the last thing that we have to do is we have to find the foci. We use the Pythagorean theorem this time to find the foci. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared always underneath x, b squared always underneath y. Okay? With that being said, let us graph this particular problem. We will do this one together. Then I want to give one to do on your own. And then I'm going to change the question on a third one. Okay? So, with this particular one, in what direction does this one open? Left and right? Agree? Okay, because it's x squared, so this is a left and a right opening hyperbola. Okay, love it. Center of said hyperbola. The origin, yep, 0, 0. A squared is underneath x. So A is what? 7, right? So that means that I'm going to go left and right 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's annoying me. Hold on. Tap the brakes. Oh, I didn't move it far enough yet. I moved over now left and right here. Come on, move for me. Now it's better. Ooh, much better. Getting kind of annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there is my other side of the box. Okay. B squared is underneath y. What's B? What's B? Square root of 24, which is approximately We don't need no stinking calculators to calculate this one. 4.8, 4.9, somewhere in that range, because the square root of 25 is 5. So, okay, so B is going to be the square root of 24, or 2 square roots of 6. Love it. Okay, so that's going to be just a little less than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can draw in my box. Yes'm? Since it opens left and right, well, actually, let's stay in order of what we were doing. We need to draw in the diagonals. There's our diagonals. If you need something straight to draw in your boxes and your diagonals, I have straightnesses up here on the table. Okay. Vertices. Since it opens left and right, the vertices are going to be the midpoints of the left and the right side. So there and there. That would be at the point -7, 0 and +7, 0. We forgot to give the equations of the asymptotes. Okay? So if I were doing the asymptotes, remember that the slope of the asymptotes is plus or minus b over a. So in this particular case, the slope of the asymptotes would be plus or minus 2 square roots of 6 all over 7. Would be the exact slope of the asymptotes. So the asymptotes then, what are the y-intercepts for both asymptotes? 0, right? Because it went through the origin. The center is at the origin. So the slope of the asymptotes here is y equals plus or minus 2 square roots of 6 over 7 times x. Now, one thing that we will tell you is that when it's easy to find the y-intercept, find it and give it in y equals mx plus b form. Okay? When it's not so easy to find the y-intercept, you can leave it in point slope form for us. We're okay with either form for the asymptotes. Okay? That leaves us with drawing it in and finding the foci. So let's draw it in now. Oops, that's bad drawing. Oh, that's much better. Leaves us with foci. A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. 49 plus 24. 73? Yep. So C is going to be the square root of 73. Am I going to add that to the x part or the y part of my center? X, because it went left and right. Okay? So the foci then are at plus and minus the square root of 73, comma 0. Phenomenal. Good times. Okay? What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to graph this hyperbola. Spot check. Opening, which way? Up and down. Center. -5, comma -2. A value. A value is 4 because we look underneath the x. Take the square root of that. B value, 2. Okay, so my center then is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, right there. Love it. Okay, sides of the box are going to be 4 left and right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Tops of the box are going to be up 2. So there and there. So that allows me to draw in. Love it. That then gives me that. Slope of the asymptotes is going to be B over A, right? B is 2, A is 4, so we'll call that plus and minus 1/2, because that's a reducible fraction. Okay? Now, both of them go through the center point, yes? Okay? Now, that's not the only one, but the y-intercepts look a little more difficult to find, so let's leave it in point slope form. Y, oops, let me scroll back up just a little bit so we see our center. Y plus 2 equals positive 1/2 times the quantity x plus 5. Y plus 2 equals negative 1/2 times the quantity x plus 5. Yeah. Love it. Vertices, since we said that this opens up and down, our vertices are going to be there and there. So that is at the points -5, 0 and -5, -4. Oops, I should move that. Draw it in. Foci a squared plus b squared, so that is going to be 4 plus 16 is 20. Square root of 20 is 2 times the square root of 5. So since it's up and down, the foci are going to be at -5, comma, -2 plus minus 2 square roots of 5. Yes, ma'am. And put it -2 on the bottom, or -2 afterwards. You could, but I would rather it looks like this. Okay? Because it's easier for us then to see it. Okay? But if you did, I'd be okay with it. Probably. Good? Questions? Now, just when you think you have all the answers, I go and I change the question. And now I say, all right, given these two conditions, I want the equation of the hyperbola. Okay? So, we start with the vertices. We already have them, so we don't need to find them. So we've got a vertice at 0, -4. We've got a vertice at -4. 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. So we've got two vertices there. What can you tell me about the hyperbola just from that? Why do you know it opens left and right? Because the vertices are horizontal. Yep, love it. Okay, so we know that it opens left and right. Knowing the fact that it opens left and right, I also now know that it's going to be an x minus h quantity squared over a squared minus y minus k quantity squared all over b squared equals 1 equation. Correct? Okay, love it. What else do I know? Where's the center? The midpoint of the two vertices, right? So that's going to be right there, which is the point -2, comma, -4. Love it. What else do I know? What's A? 2. Yep, A is 2. Because A is the distance from the center to the outside of the box horizontally. And the vertice is on the side of the box. So I know that A is 2. Love it. Anything else that I know right away without going to the slopes? B would not be 12. Oh, good try though. Anything else? Okay, now let's go to the slopes. What were you going to go with?
I was going to say we can find B because we know the slope is 3, so you take the ratio of A to B. You know that it has to be 1 to 3. So then you do 2 times 2, which equals 6.
Okay, so in other words, you were using the fact that the slope is plus or minus B over A, right? Yeah. And the fact that the slope was plus or minus 3 over 1, let's call it, equals plus or minus B over A. And we already know that A is 2, right? So then B has to be 6. Yep. Do I need to find anything else? No, I got everything. I got H, I got K, I got A, and I got B. So the equation of this hyperbola is, I'll put it right here. Okay? So that's going to be x minus negative 2, quantity squared, all over 2 squared, minus y minus negative 4, quantity squared, all over 6 squared, equals 1. Shabam. There we go. Love it. Love every part of it. Okay? Again, I remind you that you should now be through, I believe it's the first, is it first 3 sheets? Or is it 4 sheets? 4, because the hyperbolas. Is there 5 sheets? So, yeah, so you should be, you have now the information to do the first 4 sheets in the blue packet. Okay? If you, and again, test next week Wednesday, make sure you do that packet before you get to next week Wednesday. Again, I remind you also of, if you are not going to be in class tomorrow, if you don't have class tomorrow because you have a mod 16, 17, or 20, 21, that those are the 6 times that we have available for you to come and participate in class. Good times.